passed away, but nevertheless, it's never late. Oh, see the times have changed. I thought you knew that these words would never ever wait for you. The world has gone past times of fighting. Drop your guns and your swords, and let us live all as one. We're all in love and understanding. So drop your guns and your swords, and let us live all as one. Oh, ba-da-ba-ba-da-ding, ba-da-ba-ba-da-ding. I'll be waiting. Oh, I'll be. Oh,
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly. I hope you've had a nice Easter break. And sorry I couldn't make it last week. I was actually on the road for most of the day. I was on a road trip, so I couldn't. I couldn't squeeze it in. It was quite a dramatic Friday. Anyways, happy to be back. Welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly. Um, Today I'll be talking about, of course, the rally in the price of Bitcoin, and I'll just correlate with some of my earlier predictions and projections about 4 or 5 weeks ago. If you remember, then I didn't make a mention, and that's why I'm starting with sharing the screen. I didn't make a mention that it was a time to buy. I don't know how many people remember that incident, but I mentioned then that it was a time to buy, and that was around, yeah, that was around 27,000, I think, the price of Bitcoin. And the reason I said that was, like I usually say, the weekly chart is the truth. There is no higher form of truth on the chart than the weekly chart because it's completely representative of the market sentiment over a very long period of time. And no matter how strong the manipulation is, it's very difficult to sustain it across weeks. So um, it tells the truth. So what he was saying then was there was an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which I drew on the screen as well with those arcs. Sorry if I look a bit disheveled. I'm literally I've not even finished work. Had an issue at work, and I've been at it since the beginning of the day till the present moment. I just took a break to come and do this broadcast, and I'll go back. Um, like I said then, I think the near-term target is 33,000. At 33,000, I think we're going to have a correction. I think the correction will come down to around 25k. If the market becomes negative, then go lower than 25k to our previous regions. But if it sits well within the 22 and 25k region, just so let me expand this. Let me expand this a bit. So, like I said, this area that I colored purple at the beginning of March or towards the middle of March is where I think the market will take some rest. So it's either it bites 32 and comes back, or bites 33k, or just short of 33k and takes a reversal. Now, if it takes a reversal, the closest point that I think we'll be looking at will be anywhere between 25 and 22k. Now, there are a number of things I mentioned back then around the macroeconomics and how that might affect the play. For people who don't know, Bitcoin is run in cycles, and the halving cycle determines pretty much how the market behaves on a very long term frame. So if you pound the price of Bitcoin like on the weekly chart, like we have it now, over a 5 year period or over a 10-year period, you'll see that there's a major bump every 4 years or almost every 4 years. And that's because of the change in block size, change in block rewards that happens, which is popularly known as halving. Halving is exactly it's less than a month now. I mean, sorry, a year now. This is now like 11 months. So characteristically, you expect an upward tick in price from about 6 to 9 months before halving, a sharp drop shortly after, then a continuous upsurge uh, for about 6 to 12 months afterwards. So if you pan that with the macro being what's going on in the world right now, it's very easy to see that we could see some new price discoveries for Bitcoin in the coming bull run. So for people, like I said the other time, for people who are interested in the short-term profits, once the price gets to 300, not 300, once the price gets to 30K, it's a good opportunity to take some profits off the table because there will be a lot of sell-off. Naturally, there will be a lot of sell-off, and that will almost put an end to the inverse head and shoulder structure on the chart. So it's instructive to be ready to take profits at that point in time. Another thing to note is the total market capitalization. I have that. I used to have that somewhere. Oh, where is it? Not that. Not that. Total, right? Yeah. The total market capitalization of crypto is what you're seeing here, which is about 1.2 trillion now. It seems to have bottomed out at 753 million. If you match this, like I always say, with the market cap of Bitcoin or the market dominance, you can see an almost inverse relationship. So this, I think we've hit the bottom in terms of total market capitalization. This is a typical break and retest pattern on a very, very, very long time. This is across 2017. This is across 5 years, across a 5 year period. So this pattern of bouncing off this line of resistance, typically, in fact, yeah, I actually was expecting it to go lower, but it barely touched it. Like it barely touched the lowest market capitalization for the previous cycle. Like it literally just touched it, and that was the end. Touched it twice or three times across 5 weeks, and that was the end in terms of funds leaving the crypto markets. So right now, it seems to bottomed out. Um, one of the one of the theses that supports an increase in price generally or an increase in gain for crypto is that because of this chart, so major money marketers or well, no money market, money managers or market makers are also looking at this chart that shows that there is a bounce off of this. Now, ideally, 2.1 trillion or 2.2 trillion will be a good point for this to take a rest. But I mean, there are no guarantees. At least the nearest overhead resistance in terms of market capitalization is around here, which is where we are currently. So, like I said, I think they see a little more headroom, which will correlate as the price of Bitcoin goes up. You see this goes up, or as this goes up, you see the price of Bitcoin goes up. So, if it gets to when not if at this point, when we get to 33K, like I was postulating a few weeks ago, when we get to 33K, I expect to be some resistance, just the same way we had some resistance around 27K. So usually what happens or the money flow cycle is that money goes into Bitcoin. Bitcoin begins to rise. When Bitcoin gets to a key resistance where people are selling off or where um, there is lesser interest and the market is getting into a plateau, then the fund begins to go into altcoins. Then you see altcoins begin to, rapidly move up. And once the altcoins have rapidly moved up, then you see a flow into stable coins. That usually marks the end of a micro cycle, usually 3 to 4 months. So right now, we've had the pump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, 5 weeks. So I would say one more week of pump, which is next week. That will take us to I think the third week in April. Yeah. So the last week in April might be a dump or it might be a plateau. If it forms a plateau, then you can expect that all the altcoins will do like 10x or 20x, because what is happening at that point in time is that major market makers are selling off into those altcoins. So if they sold off into cash or to USDT or stable coins, the market will crash. It will become obvious the market will crash obviously. But usually what they do is they sell off to altcoins. The altcoins pump like crazy, and then it comes down, and then the market actually comes down. So what I was trying to say is, if you compare this with this, so this is total two. Okay, I want to show you something. So this is the altcoin market capitalization, which means all the funds in crypto, with the exception of the market capitalization of Bitcoin. Usually a very good indicator of what you call altcoin season, which means the time when altcoins go crazy. So usually it's here. That's the overhead resistance for altcoins. So if Bitcoin goes at 33K and stops there, or stays in the 30s range for just a week. So if it pumps next week and stays in the 30s range for the week of March, then I can expect that May you'll see a lot of spike in the price of altcoins. End of April slash beginning of May. It's beginning to set up like that actually. We'll see a lot of spike in the price of altcoins. So how do we position? For the people who have already positioned when I called it about 5 or 6 weeks ago, like I said, all you need to watch out for is to set an alert on your phone for when the price of Bitcoin touches 33K, because guaranteed there will be sell off. It might not be a sell off to 20K or 19K, but there will be a sell off, just because everybody's everybody's expecting it, so to say. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that people will want to take some profits. However, if you're playing for the long haul, I think now is a very fantastic time to get into altcoins, because conservatively some altcoins will do 10x from here in a few months. In 1 year from now, some of them will do 20, 30, 40, 50x. So generally speaking, it's a good time. But macroeconomically, the whole world economy is really shitty. Sorry to use that word right now, because um, there are quite a number of tensions that have come to play. One, the currency war is probably going to be what we're going to experience for this decade. I was born just around the time the Cold War started, so I was aware. I didn't know it was called Cold War at the time, but I was aware that the world powers were always, playing different antics with themselves. The world powers then being the USSR and the United States. So there is, I think, maybe not a so-called, maybe a warm war in this case, because the currency war. I think it's already started with China declaring war by determining that they want to be using yuan for settlements. I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's going to increase competition between the two of them. I think both of them are going to try to cut African countries for different reasons. So, and I see this in a good light. Personally, I see this in a good light. My thesis is that if Nigeria gets her acts together, we can actually curry a lot of the favor that's going to China. I mean, we speak good English, generally speaking. We have the population, we have the land, we have the people, we have the resources. So, on ordinary speak, I mean, really, I mean, frankly speaking, if I was a think tank in the United States looking for alternatives, of course, they will look for local alternatives like Mexico, the Latin Americas, and the likes. But if you're looking for alternatives that are low cost alternatives, and that does not, how do I put it, that gives you a control over the inflow in terms of immigration influx from the same country, I think Nigeria is one of their best choices. Probably Kenya and Ethiopia, and Ghana are other very good choices in the African continent to help them with their competition. But frankly speaking, this currency war, is going to impact both currencies, they're not going to be stronger than each other initially. I think it's going to strengthen the case for Bitcoin. And I think at the same time, the government will be trying to position themselves as crypto. Let me explain what I mean by that. So I've mentioned a lot of time here about central bank digital currencies, CBDCs as they call them, and I think as far back as 2020 was when I first mentioned it on one of the broadcasts to say that the central banks were trialing out digital currencies, and they were looking for. I think the trial then was in 2021. So by the end of 2021, like at least I can say Bank of Japan, European Central Bank, Bank of England, secretly Scotland, Bank of Scotland, Australian Central Bank, and I think maybe the Korean and Japanese as well, and Bank of Japan were already trialed CBDCs. It was in that phrase that the Nigerian one too went into overdrive on something they didn't know about. Anyways, so they've trialed it. They've sampled opinion. There's data out there that shows that adoption is going to be very low because, I mean, for obvious reasons. CBDCs means that the government can control your money. They can shut you down with one button, literally. Just like those guys in Canada, the truckers in Canada that were protesting the second jab, and they closed their account or they locked their bank account. So really, um, it gives the government too much control. As a result of that, people are a bit skeptical. The Bank of England has come out now to say that their timeline is 2030. I don't know if you're aware of that information. That they plan to roll out CBDC in 2030. US has not said anything. European Central Bank maybe 2035 or 2025 or 2026. I think probably Europe and and the BRICS will try to go first. Um, it will get a lot of adoption because it means the government can see everything you're spending and determine whether or not you can spend it or not. The government will have 100% ownership of everybody's finance. That's what it means. So because of that, there is going to be a devolution of power between crypto and Bitcoin. And I said this. I think I said this maybe 2 or 3 months ago when I was trying to explain the difference between crypto and Bitcoin. And Bitcoin being a standard, not just Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency that we know. And the reason I say that is because the the ownership the ownership of most cryptocurrencies or most digital assets as you may call them is pretty much known, and the founders are known, because the founders of Bitcoin are not known, or they've not made themselves known. Of course, if they made themselves known, they probably have been either jailed or killed by now. Some people have the opinion that the guys are actually dead. That maybe they found them out and they have been assassinated already by the secret services. But the fact that they have chosen to remain anonymous and didn't take glory for their innovation has given a lot of strength to the trustlessness and the centralization of that protocol. Every other thing that has been built in this space has been built after the order of Bitcoin. And because of that, the government and the big power players have tried to create an industry out of those clones to sort of model the waters for the undiscerning in a way, because you would think crypto is just crypto, Bitcoin is one of them. No, Bitcoin is the standard that made the technology possible in the minds of people, because before then nobody has successfully done. Everybody that's trying to create a digital currency before then was either killed, assassinated, jailed, or disappeared. So because of that, the credibility for Bitcoin as a decentralized storage of value and transfer of assets is only going to grow, because the more you understand what Bitcoin is, the more you understand how the world system works, the more you understand why you can never get you will never get rich stacking your money in the bank. Um, I was reading something was this afternoon, yeah. So I have this feed that comes up on my phone from one of the apps, and that app was saying that the Central Bank of Nigeria wanted to confiscate all dormant accounts. And I was thinking to myself that, I had a dormant account back in Nigeria, and it used to be my salary account at some point when I was working for a consulting firm in Nigeria. And I was thinking to myself that, oh my God. And the only reason I had that money there was because I was trying to send money from my GT. I can't even remember. I think I was trying to send money from my GT to my other GT account, about absent-mindedly or something, and then I just sent the 100K to that Access Bank account, and I don't use the account for a while. I don't have access to the account, nothing. So I was thinking to myself that, oh, just like I'm going to give 100K to the central bank, so many people now that are not even in Nigeria are going to lose their funds because the central bank wants to sit on their money, and some people have decided that it's fair game to chop their money. So really, the money in the bank is not your money. It's just a legal tender. It's a promissory note. It carries no value on its own. What carries value is the value attributed to that substance. Just like gold is valuable because we find gold to be attractive. Diamond is valuable because we find diamond to be attractive, probably exotic and hard. So transfer of value is based on what you attribute value to. But currency is just currency. It's just money being printed out of thin air. I don't want to go into I don't want to go into details of that, but really, it's just money being printed out of thin air by the government. And I was trying to explain to my children earlier in the day that you spend most of your adult life waking in the morning, going back at night, working for something that the government just literally prints out of thin air. That's just the truth. Um, And when you ponder about these things, it makes you, become more circumspect because then you think about it that it looks like the whole society itself is a scam. There's this TikToker, I can't remember his name. I think it's a British comedian, and he was going on about saying, that he thinks that the government is a scam. Now, because when you go to work and you collect your pay, they take half of it. Then when you take that pay and you want to buy something, they take 20% of it. He said then when you take the money and put it in the bank, if it grows, they take percentage of it again. Like if you put it in pension, then they take out of it again when you want to take it in pension. And that's if you give it to government pension, you will only be able to afford big beans and peas. And the guy went on and on and on about how everything was just a scam. But in the comedy, there's actually some element of reality. For instance, in the UK, if you put your money in the bank, no matter how much the money is, and the bank goes bankrupt or belly up, you are only guaranteed, I think, like 70 or 80K, 70K maybe, from the government if the bank folds up. All the rest is gone. So I think about these things. To be honest, I mean, I don't know whether I just overthinking, but I think about it. That so, what's the essence of civilization? If it's just to take money from people and have the government do whatever they want with the money, really, because that's what it is. Because the more currency gets printed out, the more money is taken, the more money is stolen from the people. Because essentially, it's like you're diluting the market. What's it called? The total supply of a token. If you dilute the total supply of a token, you automatically reduce the value of the token, regardless. So it's very instructive. Like I say, I think there's gonna come a time where people will be forced to use CBDCs. It's not now, of course, it's not now. But personally, when I think about these things, someday I'll just like, just like I'm going to buy £5 Bitcoin today, just because I know that day is coming when you will need something that's is is a store of value that can transcend time and space. Not many assets in the world can do that. You can't say that for most assets in the world, by the way. So it's important that we keep this in mind. If you want to invest, you can invest in altcoins. Not a financial advice, of course, but if you if you are trying to store wealth or store value, you're better off buying Bitcoin. Like I told somebody that, if you bought Bitcoin now, in another 18 months, it will be double its price, which is not bad. I mean, hardly can you get real estate that will double its price in 18 months. But I do double its price. If you bought altcoins, you probably do in quadruples of that. So as a short-term investment, I think it's very good to invest in crypto. Of course, there'll be a lot of scam. There'll be a lot of people asking you to sign up there, sign up. No, no, no. Just buy and hold. You don't need to worry about anything. You don't even need to do anything. Just buy and hold, and the market will do the rest of the heavy lifting for you. So for today, like I said, my short-term outlook for Bitcoin is 33K. Just to recap before I call it a day. I see the local top here is 32, but we can get to 33 because there's a daily Fibonacci line around 32,900. So I see 33 as a possibility. I don't think the market is going to stay there. I think the market will just shoot up and come down and stay below 30, 31K. That's the short term outlook. I think everything looks rosy for everything looks rosy for now. Yeah, we've had some correction on the 4 hour and it's beginning to pick up again. So it tells me it's going back to 31K. I think it touched 31K briefly today. So yeah, I think the weekend will see us sit very much above 31K. Ethereum, like the big brother will always follow, is done 2000, which is generally expected, given the circumstances with Ethereum. But in the short term, I think it's actually maxed it out already. It's maxed it out already. But if we do this, in the short term, we might see 2,200. But like I said, depending on how the market responds next week, I'm not sure what the macro news is next week. I've not really checked the market this week. But depending on so next week is usually uneventful in the market because it's the third week. The next eventful for macro is last week of April slash first week of May. So depending on how the market reacts next week, I think we still have a lot to go. And like I said, if Bitcoin goes up and plateaus at 31K, altcoins will move rapidly. In which case, you can expect that Ethereum will do anything between 2,200 and 2,300. Not so significant in terms of movement, but yeah, there was the upgrade that just happened, so that's probably responsible for some of the sluggish movements. I gave a prediction about Solana. I'm not sure whether I gave that prediction to. I think must have given it to somebody. Somebody called me on the phone. A very good friend of mine called me on the phone. I was asking about Solana, and I was telling him that yeah, I thought Solana was going to be a good play, and I think it's already played out. I can't find my Solana charts. Solana was here. Okay, this is it. Yeah, in fact, done way beyond that. I think I need to go to the daily charts now. By the way, Solana is. I understand they want to come out with a phone, a crypto blockchain-based phone. So, like I said, many weeks ago, I think the developers are serious. They're not bogged down with the FTX debacle because they had a lot of investment from Alameda. But I think they're still going ahead. So I think Solana has very good prospects, both for now and in the next 1 year, definitely. And everything on its blockchain. So understand that Solana is a blockchain. It's not just it's not just a token. It's a blockchain, and there are a lot of development going on it. So definitely, I think Solana is a very good one to watch out for. So some people are supposed to come. I'm sure they probably were hoping that we'll meet last week. Maybe we'll do that next week. We're supposed to come up with coins that we'll talk about, but honestly, I don't have that much time today because I have some work issue to resolve. But I was looking at some AI tokens. Um, so ChatGPT, of course, is one to watch out for. Um, FTM. I've talked about FTM before. It just came to my mind this morning, but I've not had the chance to look at the charts for it. It looks fairly okay. It looks fairly okay on the weekly charts. It looks very okay on the daily. Actually, very very okay. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, FTM is a good buy right now. Buy from current position is okay. So 30%. Yeah, 30% in near term, but I think it's a good buy overall. There's a coin called Casper. I think someone's told me about it. It's probably done some significant gains already. It's currently at three cents or 3.5 cents. KAS. I think it's one to watch out for. It's already sitting in. That's crazy. It's already sitting in top 30 trading coins. Definitely want to watch out for. I've been looking at it from the sidelines. In terms of the ones that have, yeah, it's interesting. So in terms of the ones that, so I try to sometimes look at the losers because some of the losers at times might be just good opportunity to buy. So I usually try to look at the losers. So top of the losers is Quant. Quant usually is very good. It's a very good coin. It's sitting at 120. Very strong, very strong use case. Very, very strong. Um, but hold on a second. Yeah, the rest of the market is really green except this one. So yeah, I think that those are the ones I'm going to talk about today. Yeah, Solana definitely want for Casper definitely want to watch out for. Uh, I'm not sure about Loopring. Um, yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, I don't want to take too much time today because I need to close out early. If you have any questions, please if you came with your tokens that you want to talk about, please indicate on the call or on Instagram, and let's quickly take it. Questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then I'm happy to close early because, like I said, I've been at work literally all day, and I just snatched myself up. Have you had your mic on? Oh, okay, you didn't have a question. All right. I promise that next week I'm going to try as much as possible to treat those AI tokens that we're talking about. Oli, you had your mic on. Do you want to ask a question?
So, I mean, I hear in some quarters there's about alt season very soon. Are there any alt coins that you think we should be trying to, you know, DJ in on right now?
Yeah, I talked about a number of altcoins. I think it's that 4 or 5 weeks ago. But like most altcoins, most oil seasons, they are usually hot themes. So one of the hottest themes right now is AI. So actually was when I was talking to you, I was looking for that particular one I was looking for was called Chat AI. It's made a lot of noise back in March, so it's currently in it's in remission right now. It's lost about 90% of its value. It's currently sitting below normal levels. I think it's one of those coins that will get a pump just by the virtue of the name Chat AI during all season. Of course, don't don't put what you can lose, but I think it looks like a very good buy. Just by looking at the chart, it looks like a very good buy. Chat AI. There's another one. I think there's Chat GPT or something. GP, GPT. Yeah, GPT. Crypto GPT. Yeah, those are pure degen. Those are pure degen coins. They're really not, you know. But as always, everything moves in all seasons. So those two, if you want to go degen, definitely you get some serious gains on them. If you're the conservative type, then just stick with Solana, Avax, Arbitrum, Optimism, Matic, uh, which other one? Veracity. Those ones are sure they're not heavy movers, but they're sure to give you a decent return. That's what I'll say.
Okay. So for Arbitrum, what do you think is still the headboard for Arbitrum? Do you think it still has an opportunity to do like at least a 10x from where it is right now?
Well, usually all altcoins benefit from all season. It's just the degree of pump. So
Mm.
Arbitrum already has done year to date. Oh, really? Is it? It's really been very. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Looking at the all-time high, and yeah, that's crazy. So Arbitrum has a very unusual chart pattern. I think it's because of this allegation that the developers are trying to pull funds out of their. I can't remember something. I think out of the gas.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
we're trying to.
yeah. So that sort of diminishes their street credibility, to be honest. But they have a very heavy technology going for them. Um, so moderate gains. Personally, I think from current position, yeah, they'll probably be able to muster. Oh yeah, it's the sell-off has been huge because most people that got the airdrop sold off. That's the disadvantage of airdrops during alt season. But it's also if the project continues and survives, then it's also a very good buying opportunity because from where it is right now, 1.7, all time high was around 11. That's a decent 10x, almost a decent 10x or 5x at the minimum. So yes, Arbitrum will definitely make some gains. $1 now, started out at $10, $11. So definitely will make some gains. In and it's how do I put it? It's an indirect gain because the gains are as a result of the calibration of the price of Bitcoin versus altcoins generally. So it's not a pump native to these tokens. It's just that it's a wave or it's a tide that carries all boats up at the same time. So that's the benefit of the all season. So yeah, it will do some gains. I mean, it's down 25% now against Bitcoin, 26% in the last 24 hours. So yes, definitely good headroom. A lot of headroom for edge space for Arbitrum. I would say 3 to 5x or 2 at the minimum. If they don't go about dumping their what's it called, plundering their DAO money, then yeah, they're good. For the conservatives, Ethereum is always there. Ethereum will always deliver conservatively. Mm, there's one other coin that's I think I'm missing out on. I think it's BN. No, BNB is BNB is really almost becoming a stable coin, even though it does mix its gains. But yeah, BNB is ever sure. It's one of the most, to be honest, one of the most utility coins on the market. So yeah, Polkadot, no, Polkadot's been a big letdown. I'm not too heavy on Polkadot. I mean, I can be on some Polkadot um, projects, but not Polkadot itself. Cosmos is another very good one. Cosmos is a very good one. They have very solid ecosystem, and they're always doing they're always doing What's that one? Giveaway. Giveaway. That's a good one.
Crazy airdrops.
But Bam Bam, you know them.
They always do crazy airdrops. In fact, sometimes I'm always so scared to even connect my wallet because the airdrops they look ridiculous sometimes.
So yeah, they're always doing
Yeah,
airdrops.
good evening, everybody. Sorry.
Hi Bam Bam. So do you have any coin you wanted to share?
Well, I'm sorry I came in late. So what? Sorry, I'm taking everybody back. Well, so what do you think is Bitcoin? Is it coming down to what we're expecting? What are we expecting? Is it going up?
Yeah, it's the same thing I
So
said 5 weeks ago. It's going to 33K.
okay.
So at 33K, I think it will have expired this leg of the run. Um, that should give way to a mini alt season, if you will, for another 6 to 8 weeks, or or 4 to 8 weeks, or 3 to 8 weeks, depending on how fast it goes. Before we see the correction come down to maybe like 25, 25 if it's good, 20 lower 20s if it's bad. If it's very bad, then it will go back to 15K. But if it goes back to 15K, it will probably be a flash drop. I don't think we're going to go back to that level anytime soon. But
So
for anybody that bought when I made the call about 4 weeks ago, when Bitcoin hits at 3K, that week or the week after is a good time to sell for the short term.
okay, so if we don't even know what to, we don't you're not even really sure when to buy. That's just so what is the market? We don't even know when the market is actually going to come down, 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 down. Like
It has
everybody
already come
saying,
down now.
oh, that's
So
already come down at this price.
it's come down.
Wow.
I mean, it was at 15K. So Bitcoin has done 100% from all-time low now, all-time low
Mm.
in this bear market. There are two possibilities, but like I said, the currency war between China and US is helping the Bitcoin case. It's not strong, but it's helping it little by little because there are people that are watching MicroStrategy and are thinking in their mind, these guys are now profitable despite all the high cost Bitcoin that they bought. They're now profitable. Bitcoin at 30K makes MicroStrategy profitable because they DCA'd all the way down. And they're thinking to themselves, by the time this thing comes back in the next bull run, in the next 2 years, MicroStrategy will probably be 3 times its market cap because the price of Bitcoin will be so huge on their balance sheet. So really, money managers are looking at this and they're looking at the currency wars and are like, you know what? Yeah, maybe this Bitcoin case might actually make sense. So there's a partial decoupling. If you look at what's it called, DX, no, not DX, but S&P 500. The S&P 500 is usually like mirroring the price of Bitcoin, but it's not exactly being the same thing. So even though now both of them seem to be on an upward strategy, but the price have not been going in the same direction as we would have expected in times past. So will one of the I think it's a two-way thing. One of the things that didn't let the market come down was when those banks were failing, the Silvergate and Silicon Valley and all those banks, when they were failing, if the government had allowed them to fail, of course there will be contagion and other banks will collapse and probably another financial crisis will start. That will have crashed the market significantly. But what they've done is they pumped money into those banks indirectly by giving money to the big banks and asking the big banks to buy them up. And like I said, the same people that print the money are the same people that own the big banks. So they just successfully acquired these companies for a dime on the dozen. So I don't think the price is going to, except something drastic. Maybe Putin starts to bomb the heck out of Ukraine, and they're losing the war. Then maybe that might bring down the price in the short term. But I think we'll get to the three. Then we'll come back to mid 20s, sit down there for a while, then start climbing steadily towards March next year when there's halving. By halving, my halving I think will be at probably like 40 or 50K. and then to drop sharply after that. Yeah, I mean the pattern is fairly predictable. To drop sharply after that, then start to climb up little by little. So on a short term, altcoin season is just about 6 weeks away. So if you buy any altcoins now, you can double your money in the next 1 month. Really, not a not a financial advice, of course. But yeah, I think that's the general outlook.
Okay. What about what do you think about core Charles N and Chloe? What do you
So
think
about
about
what?
them? Core, um, core and
Can you type
Chloe.
it into the chat? I
Okay.
can't hear you.
Okay.
So like I said, most altcoins are going to benefit from just the tide effects of alt season. So the the price calibration of most altcoins is with Ethereum. Oh, call, yeah. I mean, that definitely, it's a meme coin. It's not going to show up now. I think it's going to show up much later. Yeah, I think yeah, those three. I think that they're still under the wraps. I think they're going to show up later when we're in proper, yeah, when we're in proper bull run. They will have their moments, maybe like the 2 or 3x with all the altcoins, but because they're not, most of them are not major exchange coins right now. You won't see the action until then. For Tech Fund is already, it's not doing badly at all. It's done like 2x from all time high. Not doing badly. All of these coins, like I said, any altcoin that's what it sorts would pump with the alt season. It's just, except there is a dump happening within the ecosystem. Otherwise, all of them will gain significantly, at least double their price. Because if you see what the price of Bitcoin has done, so let me just show you the where is that sort of where is that other charts? Let me show you that daily charts. I'll show you the measurements. So here was the local bottom at 19.6 for the correction. So in this leg, you take a measurement, it's done 50% up. So at the minimum, you expect a 50% down or 25% down. Minimum 25% down. So it's done a 50% pump already, or 58% pump on this leg. If we extrapolate it to, let's say, 33k, what is 33k? Come on, okay. So if we drag it to 33k, that would be like 68% or thereabouts. So you expect that, which is still, it still comes to anywhere between 25 and 20, 25 and 26. When the price moves up in the pulse, you expect that you have a 50 to 60% retracement to make it a decent move. If the price plateaus at 24k, which is where that arrow is right now, 24, 25k, it's a decent correction. And if it bounces off that, then you're sure that the price will continue to go up from there. But until then, I think 33k it is. All right, everyone. I think I have to go now. I'll see you next week. Um, by the way, I have a subscription service that is starting. Um, it's starting this month actually. Well, anybody that joins this month is going to have the month for free. Um, if you are interested, you need to contact me either on Instagram or on WhatsApp. Um, yeah, I think that's all I'll say about it. It's free for the first month, like I said. It's going to be 20, I think 20 BUSD per month. I'll give you short term coins every month, and we'll give you the ones for the quarter, and we'll give you a long term one every month as well. And we'll do a review every month for any of the coins. I think we'll also have one session for the subscribers, one Zoom call where we'll go into details on some of the questions some people may have or some clarifications. So if you're interested, please let me know. I'm working on the app. I'm not I'm not done yet. When I finish with the app, I'll migrate to the app. But before then, it'll just be via WhatsApp. All right, 20 BUSD, sir. All right, guys, have a lovely weekend. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.